I'm Abby.
I'm Allie.
We're the Rannick Twins, and this is Oops, I Arted, a part of the Hayden Collins Intelligence Syndicate. Alright, Allie, so today we're going to be talking about Ray Bradbury and his predictions on the future, specifically in Fahrenheit 451.
Okay, you've read Fahrenheit 451 a couple times.
Yes, I've read it twice.
I've read about half of it when I was in middle school, probably right before or after you read it.
Yeah, so I read it once in 7th or 8th grade, and then I read it again in, I think, my senior year or my junior year of high school. And it was great both times. I took different things from it both times I read it.
That's what I love about books.
Me too. And I'm probably going to read it again. I think I have the copy.
Dad had.
Yeah, so I think the original reproduction of the
cover
original
art.
cover, Burning Man.
Yeah, it's the man standing with his back turned.
Yeah, and he's made
holding
of book paper.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know already, Fahrenheit 451 is the temperature at which book paper burns.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, the book is about burning books.
Yes.
And books being banned and there being consequences for being caught with books.
So before we get in too deep into Fahrenheit 451, I wanted to talk a little bit about the author, Ray Bradbury, and his reason behind writing in general, as well as writing Fahrenheit 451. So he actually started writing when he was 12 years old. He went through a few career choices. In one of the interviews, I can't remember which one because I watched a couple hours of them.
Yeah, you said you did a lot of your research on interviews and stuff like that.
Well, I figured I could get it right from the source.
Yeah, it's the best way to get knowledge, right?
The first one I watched was A Conversation with Ray Bradbury by the Red Car Channel. There's also an amazing Blank on Blank of Ray Bradbury on Mad Men, which is really good. If you haven't checked out Blank on Blank, they're amazing.
They have some really good information.
Yeah, good interviews. I also watched An Evening with Ray Bradbury in 2001 in the University of California YouTube, and A Discussion with Ray Bradbury by Kyle Kay, and A Conversation with Ray Bradbury by Lawrence Bridges.
Type in Ray Bradbury on YouTube and click through the first 10 interviews.
Yes. Ray Bradbury on censorship and book burnings. I quite literally just typed in Ray Bradbury on YouTube and watched all of the live interviews that I could find of him. He's very, very well spoken. He tells a great story. His whole life sounds like a story that he's rehearsed, I'm sure. But it's very, very entertaining to watch. And he speaks about reading so passionately. It gives me goosebumps. It makes me emotional.
Yeah, I mean, as book lovers ourselves, we do enjoy a person who loves to read. And is passionate, especially, being a writer.
Yeah.
And I myself am hopefully a writer. I like to think. I'm good at writing essays and poetry,
Yeah, that's what matters.
I write, so reading has always been a big part of our lives, though.
Yeah.
Easy to get lost in a book.
Yeah. So he started writing when he was 12 after attending a circus performance, and there was a magician there named Mr. Electro with a K. And he was sitting in an electric chair with a blue electric current running through him, and he had a sword in his hand, and he pointed it at Ray's nose and said, "Live forever."
He didn't say bippity boppity boop?
No. No, he said, "Live forever." And Ray pondered that at 12 and was like, oh, well, I can live forever through books, and decided to become a writer, and he said that he tried to write every day after that.
Wow, that's a big thing at 12 to say.
Big commitment.
Those are lofty words to say. I will write every day from now on.
Yeah, so he went to the library. He was very studious, very interested in books. He said that books were like people that wanted to tell you a story, and that books could take you away to any place that you wanted to go, real or fake. Yeah,
I heard he didn't go to college.
No, yeah, he came from a financially unstable home, so they weren't able to send him to college. So he decided to learn as much as he could from the library, and he did very well. That's studying and writing.
Incredible to be so young and so motivated
Disciplined.
To learn. Yes. And to just go out there and know that you're not going to get the education that you want, so you're just going to go out there and get it yourself.
Get the education you need. He started out writing short stories like The Pedestrian, The Lake, The Illustrated Man, and most notably Fahrenheit 451.
So it's considered a short story. Is it because it's under 200 pages?
It's a novel. Some of these are novels, some of these are short stories.
Okay, so there's just a little grab bag in there.
Yeah, so, and he wrote poetry as well. He said he loved poetry. He said that, gosh, I wish I could remember who it was, because he was really, it was George Orwell, the guy that wrote 1984. And he said...
And Animal Farm, right? Is that what it's called?
Did he write that?
Yeah.
He said that Ray was a poet, and he was...
Flattered?
Yeah, very moved by that statement.
Ray grew up reading, like Robert Frost.
Yeah, and Shakespeare and John Steinbeck. He said that his favorite book or short story is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Story.
Okay.
And he said that he even wrote a...
Isn't that the classic Scrooge?
Yes, Ebenezer Scrooge and the Three.
I'm sure you've seen a million renditions.
Actual short story is very good if you can bear to read through. I mean, you have to like reading. It's good.
If you are passionate about reading, you should check it out.
I've read it like 5 or 6 times, because school.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. Charles Dickens is awesome. But
another story for another time.
Yeah. So the pedestrian is his first kind of thought process towards Fahrenheit 451. It's about a guy walking down the street and being confronted by 2 police officers and asked what he's doing, and he says putting one foot in front of the other, and they say look around, and there's nobody there except for those 2 people, and I don't know, they like question him a lot.
So there's nobody else around, it's just the 3 of them having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's very...
The Pedestrian.
Oh, I get the title. Things are falling into place.
So...
do you know where he got the concept from?
It happened to him. It was kind of a biographical story.
Oh, so that's where the pedestrian came from?
Yes. But Fahrenheit 451 evolved from that with the kind of police enforcement questioning, because there's stuff going on in the book about, like...
There's a lot of interrogating.
Yes, and,
But the book burning, where did...
Yeah, so, Fahrenheit 451 was published in 1953, and this was a time where war was on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, we were kind of wrapping up things and kind of assessing the damage.
Yeah, so he was alive to have access to the media coverage during the Nazi book burnings, and also learned, I don't think during that time, but possibly later on that Russia was burning authors alive, or not, maybe not burning authors alive, but killing authors.
It's a whole nother take on the book burning there.
Yeah, just get right to the source, I guess.
Yeah, cut out the middleman.
Why burn books? You're spending money on them. So he kind of took that personally as somebody that his life goal to live forever was to be an author. And he was like, what, you're burning books? Like, also, I wouldn't say this is what the Catholic Church did before people could read Latin, but they were definitely keeping knowledge away from people, and this is taking knowledge away from people, and I think it's very similar and still kind of horrible thing to do.
Yeah, burning books in itself is horrible. Cutting off access to that kind of knowledge just in general, especially if it's a single copy, like an archives building and stuff like that.
Well, didn't you tell me about a library?
Yeah, there was a library in the Middle East.
Was it
I think it's in Iran. I don't know which one it was, but it was demolished. I don't know what the circumstances were, but...
With all the books inside!
It was one of those, like, if you're worried about Notre Dame, why aren't you worried about this? So...
Why aren't you worried about this?
Yeah, I've got a lot of things to worry about right now in Georgia, okay?
Yeah, so he took it personally, and he also always pondered the thought of, like, what would firemen do if there were no more fires to be put out. So I don't think at this time they were really worried about wildfires for some reason. Because that seems to be the big problem right now. But there were a lot of other things that were very flammable in the household in the 50s.
Like children's sleepwear.
Yeah, or your furniture. Papa fell asleep with a lit cigarette in his hand and burned the house down on accident. Yeah, it's not great.
everything was pretty flammable back then, and everybody smoked inside back then too.
No grates on the heaters, no safety, anything.
It's a wild time to be alive, I'm sure. I'll have to ask Grandma. I don't know.
That's why everybody that's still alive is so stinking tough. So, he was worried about that. I'm sure in the future, he dreamed of days that everything was fireproof.
In a world where everything is flame retardant.
So, he was like, well, what if firemen started the fires and they burned books that people kept? Because books are made of paper, right? So
yes. That's flammable.
Yeah. 451 degrees. So what if they burned books? So that's kind of the whole premise of Fahrenheit 451 is books are outlawed and people keep them anyway.
But this isn't about Fahrenheit 451.
450, hun. So yeah, he actually, a couple quick facts on Ray Bradbury writing Fahrenheit 451. He wrote it in a total of 18 days, 2 segments of 9 days, 25,000 words each.
Yeah, and you were talking about something about it being a dime
novel.
A dime
novel,
okay.
He wrote this actually in the basement of his local library on a typewriter for $0.10 an hour, which I'm assuming was a common service that libraries offered. And
libraries today offer computer services.
Yeah, so dime novel. You could just go in and write whatever you needed.
Bag full of dimes, sat down, 9 days later he left.
Done.
I'm kidding.
Yep. Something like that. So, probably kicked him out at night.
Yeah. He was there in the morning when they opened it.
Yeah, so he finished the first half, and then he went back and extended it to twice the length and another 9 days because it needed that to constitute as a novel, like 50,000 words. I don't exactly know all of the logistics surrounding what makes a novel a novel. I just know that he had to write more on it in order for it to classify as something.
Could you imagine writing a novel in 18 days?
That's like 2.5 weeks. So, it published in October of 1953 and had a lot of futuristic technologies that have similar counterparts in today's time. So this was released in 1953. That's 66 years ago.
That's a long time. Are you confident?
Quick math.
How confident are you? Would you put your life on the line?
80%. So,
I'm sure someone will let us know if we're wrong.
66 years, dude. That's a long time.
Yeah,
even if it's less than that, that's a long time, right?
It's half a century.
So
and a little plus some change.
In the book, he talks about these seashells. And I remember being confused about it when I was young. But they're these seashells that you put in your ear and they play information and music.
Huh.
Like AirPods.
Or Bluetooth headsets.
Yes. They also, a very prominent part of Fahrenheit 451 are the wall installment TVs. So the whole wall is a television. And you can get up to 4 walls in your house installed with this huge TV.
And isn't it like a projector style?
I'm not sure. They have to install the walls for TV.
Oh, okay.
And it's all flame resistant. And,
of course it is.
And it's the parlor room, I believe is what it's called. And it's just the TV. Like, the room is the TV.
Do you just stand in the middle?
I don't know.
Do you have one of those weird, like, round chairs with no armrests on them that you can just kind of rotate around?
You know what they need is one of those 4D chairs that just whips the chair around for you.
That sounds like motion sickness waiting to happen.
But, yeah, so seashells.
But people are
AirPods.
doing projectors as TVs a lot lately, and I mean,
TVs are getting bigger and flatter and more attached to the wall.
Yes, that's how we want them.
So there's that. There's also, I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called pocket radios or something. Let me check my notes. But he talks about coming up with the idea for the Walkman, which was like a portable
for those who don't know, it's a cassette player.
And he also talked about a wall that you could post things on.
What? Like,
yeah.
So a wall you could post things on that other people could see?
Yes. And update others.
Oh, so like...
Mark.
Face.
Zuckerberg, are you listening?
Get zucked.
Did you read this book? And I believe he also came up with an idea for FaceTime where you could communicate with people face to face. But at the same time, I also feel like that was just a really science fiction thing to do. During the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, yes.
I don't think Ray should take credit for all of this. I feel like the 50s, I mean...
It was gadgets and
very
gizmos.
Very futuristic, yeah. And, like, you think of, like, what is that? The Robinsons?
Meet the Robinsons?
The Jetsons. The Jetsons.
Meet the Robinsons is a whole different movie.
Yeah. Meet the Jetsons. Copyright.
Sorry. So, yeah. Ray Bradbury predicted the future.
Does he claim that? Or did he claim that?
He humbly mentions it in a couple of his interviews.
It's a humble brag?
Yes. And I think he deserves it. That's pretty creative for the time.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely very futuristic thinking, even though I've heard that he hates technology.
He does speak very strongly against television. Very, very strong.
Well, yeah, I've just, in researching just wacky stories, I've just heard a few things about his distaste towards technology advancements.
He doesn't drive at all. Never driven a car. Never had a license.
Holy cow. Yeah. Never, ever?
Rides his bike. Yep.
Oh, rides his bike.
Get carpools, whatever he's got to do.
That's how you get around.
And he talks about the TV being like a graveyard.
Does he have a phone? I wonder.
Probably like a work phone.
Like, maybe he has an email. That's probably it. I wonder if he even knows about the Facebook wall notifying your friends.
I think he passed away in 2012, so I think he would know.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's like right
when it was getting
They
big.
were like settling in.
Facebook was like, boom, baby. Everybody had a Facebook.
They were busting out the door like, I'm here, like a Kool-Aid man.
I was like, move over MySpace, Facebook.
Yeah. Yep. Well, all right. So Ray Bradbury predicted the future and wrote an awesome book called Fahrenheit 451 that you should check out.
And not this next episode, but the episode after that, we're doing something cool and different. So stay tuned for that. And check us out on Spotify,
iTunes,
Google Play Music,
and YouTube,
and Patreon,
at Oops I Arted. Everywhere on that. And then you can email us at oopsiartedpod@gmail.com, and we would appreciate your feedback and suggestions.
And support.
Yes. We hope you have a good day. Bye.
See ya.